On the build show today, we're about to show you an incredibly inspiring project. This small building behind me is an architect's office that he built with some incredible building science principles, using monopoly framing, expressing, meaning showing all the framing inside, no insulation, no drywall. This is a model for an incredibly well-built house. You know, if you had mold sensitivities and wanted to build a house that had absolutely zero chance of problems, or you just want to build something beautiful, you're about to see some really cool stuff. We're at Tim Derrington, a local East Austin-based architect here in Austin, Texas, and this building is absolutely gorgeous. Today's build show all about monopoly framing. Let's get going. Oh, Tim, look at this beautiful building, man.
It's good to see you.
Thank you for having us, brother.
My pleasure.
This is absolutely beautiful. I've only built one building that has a similar inside look to this, and I'm guessing I'm looking at monopoly framing here, aren't I?
Absolutely, 100%. And I know the building you're talking about because that probably more than partially inspired this.
I love it, man. This is fabulous. So give us the rundown. For people that don't know you, this is actually your office that you built for your team.
I did a lot of research, watched a lot of your videos, and came up with this methodology of utilizing your monopoly framing while also expressing the structure in a fairly unique way.
So this is right out of the architect's mouth, expressing the structure. Mm-hmm. For me, it means all the bones of the house are exposed, right? And this is an office, but this could have been a house. I built a house in the same kind of idea. This is just regular 2x framing, right? There's nothing special here. There's no weird components you had to get made that you bought at a local lumber yard.
Yep.
And then your framers put it together in a thoughtful way, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it was the idea here is I wanted to be able to build it myself. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be the builder. Not that I was going to be better than a builder, but I wanted to be able to have that experience under my belt.
Yeah.
That I'd learned something.
Smart.
And save a little money. So that's the way I did it. So the idea was that I would buy components that I would be able to get locally from either like a lumber yard or even a hardware store, and nothing much more special than that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to use specialty timber framing or anything like that. That would be a high premium, and I'd probably screw it up.
So walk me through the individual components. I'm guessing this is maybe just 1/2 inch or 5/8 or 3/4 CDX sheathing.
Right. Yep.
And then it looks like on this wall, you've got standard 24-inch on center 2x6s. Am I seeing that right? Now what's happening though at the top? Because this isn't your standard platform framing, double top plate kind of deal going on here.
Keen observation. Yeah, so if I was going to go and expose the framing, I wanted the framing to feel designed. Mm-hmm. And so I designed every stick of the house to be, going back to the idea of being expressive, but to have some sort of compositional beauty to it, at least in my opinion. So we turned the top plate up because it would form not only a band that created a datum line all the way around the top.
So that's not, is that continuous or is that individual blocking?
That is continuous.
That is continuous. Okay, so then did you notch those studs to accept that?
Yeah,
okay.
We notched the studs. So that it formed not only the sort of quote unquote top plate, even though it's not really a top plate, but it formed the basis for the roof spring line as well as the window head.
Yeah, so it's your header for that window as well.
Yeah.
And it's a single or a double top?
It's single.
Plate. It's kind of a top plate-ish device.
It is a ripped 2x10.
Okay.
So for the 2x10 to land and meet the top of the spring line for the rafters.
Oh, you ripped the top at an angle.
It had to be ripped, and it had to be ripped at the angle of the roof line.
Oh, I love that idea.
So that made this whole band tie together with the bottoms of the rafters.
So it's like a 412 pitch on the roof, maybe-ish?
Yeah, you nailed it.
And then you just ripped that 2x10 with that same pitch. Mm-hmm. So now your top sheathing nails right down into that.
Exactly.
And man, it looks really pretty. Plus it also, I didn't even think about it, that also forms your header above your windows and doors. So now you don't have to do anything weird or double header or timber strand or something else that would be, maybe not look good in here. So that everything really is just natural lumber looking in here.
Exactly, and it minimizes the number of pieces while it also sort of accentuates the structure itself as a design element.
I love it.
Now, it was risky because who am I to work with a tolerance like that? And on this door in particular,
did you frame the house yourself or the project yourself?
I certainly oversaw the framing.
Okay.
And I certainly cut some of the pieces myself because
you had a crew come by.
I had a crew come by, but I wasn't going to ask him more than I was already asking him to do.
Got it.
So, fun fact, I didn't know this as an architect. You probably do, but the way that a lot of framers put framing together is by beating the crap out of it with a hammer.
And not only any hammer, but a hammer with a waffle face.
Yeah.
And I don't see any waffle marks on this framing at all.
No, so once I saw them doing that with a couple of pieces of the lumber, I had to step in and ask very kindly.
Did they move lumber with the claw side of their hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I don't see any claw marks either.
No. So the other thing about this framing is I didn't want to see screws or nail heads or stray nails.
You've done a great job.
So the guys were really, they went with it. It was tough, but they accepted the challenge, and there are only a very handful of spots where you can see a string.
I bet there's an Easter egg somewhere for you in there.
Yeah,
There's one. There's
yeah.
one or two somewhere based on my experience on my project the same way.
One or two. I'm not going to tell you about them.
Now explain these site-built trusses. I really like what you did here. Help me understand what I'm seeing as I look up at this
Sure.
double 2x6 or 8 maybe?
Yeah,
for
they're
rafters?
double 2x8 rafters with a 2x4 infill.
Okay, so there's a 2x4 that's up at the roof.
Yeah.
And then you've got this collar tie that kind of bolts everything together.
That's right. So obviously, I mean, any builder's going to know this, that once you have something like this on the roof, it's going to want to push out.
Yep.
So you're going to have something to pull it back to keep it in place.
Yep.
So I didn't need it here because of the fact that we have the porch out there holding things in place, as well as the wall that leads up to the skylight holds it in place with more diaphragm framing up there.
Yep.
But here I was worried about it, so we went ahead and got some 2x4 collar ties and bolted them in with these, I think they're 3/8 inch bolts.
Yeah,
And
they
that
look
holds
good.
everything in place.
I like it.
Keeps it tight.
And then you also took that same framing design, it looks like, and did that on your gable end, which was probably more of an architectural feature than a structural feature,
100%.
I'm guessing.
So the only thing the sidewalls really need to, I guess, guard against is the wind load and supporting themselves.
Right.
So I doubled up the studs on this side to kind of recall what was going on the roof. As an architectural move, I thought it was a nice touch. And then I spaced them sort of however I needed to. So obviously what you're holding on, this is the jamb framing for the window.
Yep, so there you got a big fat corner window, so this spacing's wider,
That's
but
right.
then is this on 2-foot spacing or?
So it's actually based off of this.
Okay.
So this guy runs under
ridge.
the ridge beam, has to support the ridge beam.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So
Yeah.
your double ridge beam design is coming down to your double studs
got
here
it.
to bear that load
There
down.
you go. And
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
then I have this one spaced in the middle of that guy, and then these three over here are more or less equally spaced.
Okay, so this isn't some 16 or 24 inch
Nope.
spacing per se. It was just what made sense.
That's right. And then on the other side, that we'll probably get over there later, it's even more random
And I want to
spacing.
I want to note too that I really like your barge rafter design. You doubled up this same kind of header detail as a barge rafter. You did a real nice job of cutting these studs to kind of meet in with that barge rafter, to carry that roof load, to have a spot to nail your sheathing. And it looks pretty, even though it's not, obviously a finish carpenter didn't frame this, right? There's
No.
still regular, what we would call rough carpenters in the
Right.
business.
It's definitely, everything in
Framing
here
carpenters.
is rough. It was kind of a case study. I wanted to see if I could pull this off.
I love it, man. It works.
Everything here is rough and utilitarian and fairly inexpensive given what it is. I wanted to see if I could pull it off. I wanted to work out the kinks on my own before I ever recommended it to a client. And for let's say a nicer house, we'd probably upgrade to a better pine, maybe a Douglas fir, maybe even oak if we wanted to go timber.
Ooh, that would be fascinating, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
I know, right?
That'd be
So-
kind of fun.
It would be a beautiful interior finish, but now that I've worked out the kinks, because some of the kinks are not only the insulation, which you know all about, but infrastructure.
Yeah, let's talk insulation first, then we'll get to infrastructure. So there's nothing on the inside, which probably blew your inspector's mind a little bit when they first showed up, right? Like, what do you mean you're calling an insulation inspection?
Yeah.
There's no insulation inside here.
Right.
When are you gonna bring the bats in to insulate this?
They were a little confused at first, but after I explained it to them and showed them the installation, they were pretty jazzed about it.
The newest version of the code, by the way, the 2020, is it 4 or 5 IRC, shows, even for our climate zone, an all exterior option right in the code. Whereas when you built this, you had to kind of say, well, this isn't strictly based on the code, so here's what I'm doing. And you had to kind of explain it a little bit more. And so what do you have insulation-wise on the project?
I have 1.5 inch layers of, I think Atlas is whatever the one you recommended. Actually.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
you watched my videos and bought the same product. I bet Alice would like to know that.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
So you've got Atlas polyiso on the outside.
That's right. So I've got 1.5 inch polyiso on the exterior, the foil face stuff.
Yep.
And on the walls, I have 2 layers equaling 3 inches, and on the roof, I have 4.5 inches. So
Fabulous.
3 layers up top.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, and then you've got a full metal exterior. There's probably some furring that happened on the outside, I'm guessing, like what I did on my project years ago.
That's exactly right.
And then I'm also, let's talk infrastructure. I'm noticing this really cool detail where your outlets are, a foot or so off the floor. I can guess what's happening here, but why don't you go ahead and explain it for us?
Yeah, it's probably pretty self-evident, but when you have exposed framing, you have to do something because so many things go in the wall. There's the conduit, if you're using conduit, certainly Romex, you have hot water, cold water. Sometimes you even have drains.
Or a hose bib or something like that.
Yeah, there's a hose bib over there. So what do you do with that? And I thought, well, if we have a pronounced baseboard, like a baseboard, that's about 14 inches tall, I think this might have been 16 when it was all said and done, you can run all of your stuff. And I made this in such a way I used stainless steel fasteners.
I was just going to say, that's a screw though, isn't it?
Yeah. I
so
mean,
this whole board could pop right off in theory, and you could be like, oh, I need to run another outlet here, or put it in an Ethernet
if
jack.
If there's a leak for whatever reason, any of those things, I wanted. So it was very important to me that this house was maintenanceable, because the worst thing about being a homeowner is having to demolish part of your house to figure out what's going on with it.
Cutting drywall is the worst.
It gets dust on everything, including inside your lungs. It's probably not very good for you. The list goes on and on and on.
For sure. And if you look at this inside, this is really a 98% wood interior. You've got a little bit of cabinetry and just a little bit of drywall in the center, where I'm guessing we're about to see a bathroom and maybe some HVAC work. But if you were worried about a healthy space, if your kids were allergic to mold, whatever, you can see exactly what's happening. There's never a concern of like, oh gosh, is there a leak under that window? No, I can see everything here.
Yeah, and again, this was all designed to be built and installed by me, so I did all of this. If you hired somebody that wasn't an architect, maybe a finish carpenter, I'm sure it would be even better. But the idea still stands and holds.
I love the design.
With all the upward-facing duplex outlets, there is a little bit of plumbing that's running in the walls to get to the hose bib. And all of the electrical from the box comes in through a corner over there and goes throughout the house.
Let's walk this way as we're talking so we can think about the plumbing. You just have plumbing really in one small section of the project of the house, right? This is a studio office space, but this could be a casita. If this was bigger, this could be designed and built just like a house. This could be a ranch project.
Yeah.
You're really well known for your rock climbing studios. I suspect you do a lot of commercial work.
Yes.
Tim's real famous. He's kind to spend time with us because he's hard to get a hold of, as busy as he is with the Crux studio projects. That's what he's really well known for. So if you're interested in hiring Tim at some point, he does fabulous commercial work, but I suspect, Tim, if you had a cool residential project that wanted to do monopoly framing, you might be talked into it as well.
100%. So we don't advertise a ton of the residential stuff because we do specific. The monopoly framing, the exposed structure, and the the Austin market for residential architects is fierce. There are so
There's
many
a lot of
good
good
and
architects
talented
here.
architects
Yeah,
here.
there are.
That I tend to just wait for the people that want specifically what we can deliver.
But you could work anywhere in the country, though, right?
Anywhere in the country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fabulous.
So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, this whole studio is designed to be our office space. It's a small space. We're a small team. But I knew that eventually we'd probably grow out of it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to design it in such a way that it could become like a studio apartment for somebody in the future.
For sure. You put a bed in here, and this could be your living room, and you've got
exactly right.
basically a full kitchen here. Maybe
Washer
add
and
an
dryer.
oven or something, and then you've got a full bath right here in the center as well. So
You
you've
have
got.
a washer and dryer in here too.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the all-in-one.
Yeah.
They're great, actually.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah. I have the same one in my house. I love this GE profile.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
And then there's no hole in the envelope, too, which is what I love about mine.
Yeah.
Tim, walk me through the exterior layers on the project. We can see the back of the CDX, and you kind of mentioned we've got this exterior insulation, but like how do those layers look?
It's a great question, and I actually have a piece that I cut from the roof.
Oh, really?
Grab that.
Yeah,
It's
let's
over
grab
here.
it.
This guy right here, this is the way it's built up on the exterior, for the most part. So
A core sample of the building.
yeah,
I like it.
this exhaust fan from the bathroom.
Oh, there you go.
But this is the CDX that we're looking at right now. On the outside of the CDX, on the walls, I use fluid applied liquid flashing.
Oh, very cool.
So from the bottom, we use the goopy caulk. I forget what it's called. I can find out.
Probably Prosigo joint and seam or something like that.
That's probably it. It was white, but I'll look into that for you. And then up on the top, we use ice and water shield.
Okay.
That's the
Peel and stick.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So on the walls, we have, of course, the 2 layers of polyiso with 1x4 treated screeds or battens, and then every 2 feet or so, and then we screw into the siding into that.
It's a really straightforward building, and I love, again, how you could tell if there was a leak, if there's a problem. If you're not familiar with Monopoly framing, one of the things that I always use to kind of explain it, that I've heard Joe Stieberg say is, if I had a dining room table that was, a Ming Dynasty table, that table lasted and did just fine because it was always inside the house. It was always indoors. Mm-hmm. And so the way that table lasted was being sheltered, insulated, air conditioned. Now you've taken this framing, Tim, and turned it into a Ming dining room table, right? The framing is living in the same dry, air conditioned, humidity controlled space that we are. So now your dining room table that was built 500 years ago will be fabulous and sold as a relic someday. That's what we've done to this framing. This is not special framing. This is not special materials, but Tim has put it together in a really thoughtful way that the best building scientist in America has said that this building could last 500 years. So now we just make sure that we build a good foundation for it. We put a solid foot underneath it. And the way that you've framed this, the way that you've designed this as an architect and then as the builder, this should be here 500 years from now.
That was the idea.
And you've also, lastly I want to mention too, you've also made it really serviceable and upgradable. Because probably these windows won't be around in 500 years. No offense to whatever brand these are. These look like Andersons.
Yeah.
These are great windows. But when you want to replace these Andersons in 50 years, because they're not in style or whatever, have some fog glass, it will be super easy for your grandchildren, maybe your daughter, maybe the next owner to replace those windows with almost zero damage.
Yeah, and there's one other thing I'd like to mention, and that is that the house doesn't try to tear itself apart in quite the same way that a conventionally insulated house would.
That's right.
So the idea of the paper clip that you go back and forth on, eventually it breaks.
Right.
Well, that happens with nails and screws too.
Yeah.
You know this.
Great
You've preached
point.
about this. But when the house heats up in the summertime, in the middle of the day, and cools off at night, and then of course in the wintertime, the same thing happens. If you insulate from the exterior, the framing is stable. It doesn't expand and contract in nearly the same way. So that too makes it last longer and stay tighter over time.
And remember, it's totally dry, and we can visually inspect that on a daily basis. If you did have a roof leak, which you might someday, you'll absolutely be able to tell immediately when it happens.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'll drip down on your daughter's piece of paper here at the table. And she'll be like, "Hey Dad, I got water on my paper."
Yeah.
And you would know immediately.
And you can fix it. And when you fix it, it wouldn't be 60 feet away from where the leak seems to be. It would be exactly where it's coming from.
I love it.
So you're not going through bad insulation and coasting over drywall until it drops in the weak spot.
So fabulous. One other quick story for you. On the last one I did like this, we did a really inexpensive kitchen, and we didn't even like do a backsplash. Like everything was exposed in the kitchen, and the homeowner that I built for a couple years later sold it to a new homeowner who was like, I don't love this IKEA stuff. Let's rip this out and put a new one in. They did a 2-day kitchen remodel because everything was exposed. There was no drywall to rip out. They basically just unscrewed the cabinets. They knew the exact measurements, put the new one in that had been built off-site the next day, and maybe touched up some paint. You didn't even paint any of your framing. I think that's kind of interesting. We kind of whitewashed ours. You just left it as is. There's not even a finish on this wood, is there? I love it. No. This is fantastic.
It's actually fun because when we built it, it was bright yellow. And over time, the oxidation has turned it orange, which makes it pop against the blue.
I love it. That's fantastic. Let's finish on this real quick. What do we do about heating and cooling a space like this? It's not real obvious what you've done here.
Oh, it's so simple. We have a simple ductless ducted mini split just above the bathroom with a vent on either side.
Ah.
That's it.
That's it. And it's all big, kind of one big open volume.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't want to go all in on the dehue because the complexity there seemed like it would require unknown costs, things like that, and then immediately I regretted it.
Oh, really? You wanted the dehume right away?
Yeah, so I bought one on Amazon and installed it on top of the mini split.
Oh,
so
interesting.
What you hear is not the mini split, it's the dehue.
Oh, interesting. It's ducted, or it's just a plain old $300?
It's one of those guys, and then I have it hard piped into the condensate line, and it just runs 24 hours a day.
And if that dies in a couple years, we'll unplug that, we'll throw it in the trash, and we'll put a new $300 unit in.
That's right.
There's a lot of simplicity here, and there's a lot of money and craftsmanship spent, but I love the simplicity of all the mechanicals. There's really not much here when it comes to mechanicals. So let's spend a little bit more to get a good craftsman, to get a good builder, to get a good carpenter. You know, we probably got a little nicer lumber than just going to the home center to get our lumber. But other than that, nothing here is special. Nothing here is different. What's different is really good architecture put together in a thoughtful way. Really shows the power of a great architect.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Amazing job, dude. We're going to put a link in the description for Tim's studio so you guys could hire him, whether you've got commercial projects or whether you want to do something like this that has some special qualities, monopoly framing, you know, a casita, maybe a house. Amazing stuff. We'd love to work with you, Tim. So if somebody calls you and has a cool project in Austin, call my team.
I've got your number.
We'd love to build it. Do you know how to finish my videos, Tim? Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. You got to do it with me on the Build Show.